Welcome to Real Talk with Sterling Real Estate Group, your go-to podcast for all things real estate related. Each episode, we break down the latest market trends, share insider tips, and bring in local industry experts to offer valuable insights that empower your journey. Whether you're buying, selling, building, or investing, we're here to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape with clarity and confidence. Let's get real about real estate.
Good afternoon. We have a special episode today of Real Talk, and I am your guest host. My name is Pam Stott. I'm Executive Director of the Northeast Construction Trades Workforce Coalition. I'm also a member of the Showcase of Homes Committee, and our guest today is Michelle Larkin. Michelle is the founder and Executive Director of Rebuilding Together Saratoga County. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I've known Michelle. I've been on the committee, the Showcase Committee, about 15 years, I think now, and that's where I met Michelle. So first, we're going to get a few housekeeping things out of the way, Michelle, just to kind of lay the groundwork here for people so they understand your organization and what you offer to the community. So to kick things off, I believe that you founded Rebuilding Together about 22 years ago.
Yep.
Is that right?
2003.
2003. It started with 3 people sitting around in your living room, right?
Sort of. Yep.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and what inspired you to find this, start this organization?
So I went on I was a youth group chaperone. We went and worked with folks in other areas of the country who needed home repairs. And on the way back in the bus, I said, we had visited with other Rebuilding Together affiliates, and I liked the way they were run, and I certainly liked the way that they were helping people in need. So I said, I should try something like that once we go home. And I did, and Curtis Lumber was like one of the very first supporters of what we did, along with Allardyce Curtis Lumber, Adirondack Trust, Ruin Realty. Those were all the big people in the beginning who liked the idea of helping homeowners in need.
Huh. Did you know what you were getting into?
No, who does?
You never do with these things.
You never do, right? You always go home. I went to my husband, how hard can this be, right? And so, yeah.
I have a brilliant idea. Let's just do it. And then you kind of figured out along the way, right?
The first work day that we had about 100 volunteers come out.
Wow.
And it was pretty exciting. And we worked on 4 projects. And it was exciting. It was, and just the spirit of everybody wants to do something to help people in their community, and they were happy to do that.
A lot of good people in the world, right? We always talk about the bad, but there's a lot of good ones out there.
Yes.
And I believe you're part of a national organization, correct?
That's
Michelle?
right. Yep.
Yeah, which is wonderful to have that support.
And the neat part about all that is, well, it's not so neat. It talks about the need in the communities, but there is a lot of need. We have a wait list of over 300 people, to give you an idea. But we are in Saratoga County, Warren, and Washington County now.
Okay, all right. What's the mission of your organization, Michelle? Help us understand what you do for people.
Our goal when we go into somebody's home, and of course the fundraiser that the Showcase of Homes is actually a fundraiser of ours, because that's there's proceeds that they give us help us with paying for our repairs, some of our repairs, but. Our goal is when we go into someone's home, we want to make it warm, safe, and dry.
Okay.
So that's our goal when we meet people, and we want to help them stay in their home.
Right. How do you do that, though? Can you give us a few examples of how you help them stay in their homes?
What does that mean, right?
Yeah,
what does warm, safe, and dry mean? So that means we go into somebody's home and they have roof issues, so they've got a bucket in their living room, and so our goal is to replace their roof, get rid of that bucket.
Get the bucket.
If we didn't get rid of the bucket, we're in trouble, right? And we have a lot of calls for furnaces and water issues and obviously heat. So we're replacing furnaces. People are walking on floors that they feel like they're going to go through the floor. Bathrooms, accessibility issues, especially for people to be able to age in place. We're doing an awful lot of bathroom modifications, low threshold shower units. So whatever it takes to help them remain in their home, but in a better position than it was when we went there.
Do you service a particular group in the community, Michelle?
So via an application process, people are applying for our services, and they're older adults, they're people living with a disability, veterans, low-income families with children.
Okay.
So in again, to draw this back into the Showcase of Homes, where does the money go to that they give us? The beautiful thing is that funding goes directly into people's homes in the community.
I remember when you discussed with me, I was on your board for several years,
yeah.
going back a few years ago. And I remember you saying to me, we squeeze every little bit out of every single penny. And that still, to this day, I still remember that. And I know being a part of your organization, integral part of that, that's exactly what you do. And I think that's so important, because today, when we write checks to charities, right, we think, how much of this money really goes to charities?
That's
or
right.
how much goes to pay for everything else but. So I do know that about your organization. I want to back up 1 second because I know something that's important. You do a lot of ramps, don't you?
We do.
And you've got that system down pat, as I understand it, right?
Right. We do an awful lot of ramps. Nothing worse than somebody saying they can't get out of their house. They can't go to a doctor's appointment. I remember a woman, lovely lady in Wilton, and we put a ramp in, and she cried. That was the first time in years that she could actually go to the mailbox and get her own mail. So
that's hard to believe.
It is. And people who can't get out of the house, they can't get to a doctor's appointment. So, you never know what's going on with your neighbor. And,
you're right.
Neighbors in need. And that's why so many people want to be a part of Rebuilding Together, because they want something actual that they can do for their neighbors and to help. Everybody needs a helping hand from every now and then. And so, again, to bring it back to why we're here, the Showcase of Homes, we are, people are attending the Showcase of Homes to see all these gorgeous, beautiful homes, right? State of the art, and it's stunning. And the nice part about that, in the background, all the funding that's raised, all the money that's raised, is helping people, whose homes aren't as pristine and gorgeous as that. So it's not,
so
normal homes.
Every time you buy a ticket,
that's right,
that money is going to help support your organization.
That's right.
Yes,
That's
and
right.
help those people in need in the community.
That's right.
Because, the Showcase of Homes proudly supports charities that provide housing assistance for those in need. So how can you give us an idea of how the Showcase money has impacted you directly, your organization? Like that's a revenue stream for you every year that you can count on. I know it varies based on the number of homes. That has to do with how many tickets they sell and how much money you're going to get.
That's right.
But at least it is every year, in the fall, you're going to be getting a good little hunk of money.
Yep.
Right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. For years, it's in our budget. It's a budget line, Showcase of Homes, which is exciting. And so we do receive a lot of funding from grants, which has a lot of strings attached to it. Now, the Saratoga builders were blessed to get that check in the fall, and there aren't as many strings attached to it. They want us to help people in need. So, but if somebody calls me and says, my door just fell off, can you help me? I can't close it, and it's the winter time. This is a true story. We can go over there immediately, because you have that pot of money to use, and we don't have to go through a lot of rigmarole. So
the paperwork.
And so every fall we look forward to a check. I'm on the Showcase committee, and it's a planning that goes on all year long. All the committee, wonderful Showcase committee, caring people who volunteering their time to put this on. Not to mention, of course, all the builders who build these gorgeous homes, so that we can have this event, premier event every fall.
Yeah. And I know as part of receiving the money, your organization is actively involved starts in the very beginning. Like you said, we work almost a full year on the Showcase Planning Committee. And then you have the weekends, the 2 weekends where they actually put the event on. Give us an idea. So I know you're involved in that from A to Z. How many volunteers roughly are, I know, again, it varies on the number of houses, but what's an average of how many volunteers it takes you to cover those 2 weekends in the homes, Michelle?
So usually about 100 volunteers, which is something that, and we've had some volunteers who've done it all these years. They wait for this event every year, and they love it. They love not only going into the homes, Showcase of Homes, and all the homes in the Showcase, and seeing the state of the art, all the new trends,
all the stuff we can't have.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other perk of that is they, so they're a greeter at the home, and then they get a complimentary ticket to take the tour themselves with their friends or whatever. So it's a nice event every year to look forward to.
Yeah, and it's an annual event. Is this our, what year is this? Oh my goodness, our
I don't even know.
29th? I can't remember. Shouldn't say that if I don't know. But it's been, all of a sudden I just drew a blank. Is it 28 or 29 years? But anyway, it's been going on for a long time. And I know that, people in the community really look forward to the event. It's very well supported. We get about 3,000 plus visitors.
That's right.
Through the homes over 2 weeks. So that's a lot of people. That's a lot of publicity.
It says a lot about the builders, their commitment to doing this show this show every year, a commitment on the builders to support the community that way.
Yes.
Because they could keep the money for themselves, for their own organization, the Saratoga Builders Association, but they don't. They put that money right back into the community because they care about housing, and that's their passion. So I appreciate everything that they do to help us create this wonderful event, and then, of course, give us money.
Yeah, exactly.
Write us a check.
Yeah. So I guess, and I think maybe you've pretty much answered this about the connection between what Rebuilding does and what the Showcase of Home does in terms of strengthening the community, on a broader basis. How would you kind of wrap that up, Michelle?
Besides being thankful for, I see the connection between, we have these high-end houses, and then we have, people struggling just to stay in their own home, who need a roof, who need a ramp, everybody, as I say all the time, everybody needs a helping hand from one time to another, and we're able to provide that. We're happy to do that. And so it's acknowledged by the Saratoga builders that all this money is going back into the community, going back into helping people stay in their home, warm, safe, and dry. And I just appreciate the efforts by the builders, but I also appreciate all the people who go out every year and buy a ticket.
Yeah.
Because obviously they host a show, they want people to attend. So thank you to all these wonderful people who buy a ticket, all our greeters who are there to welcome people into the homes. It's just a great event.
Well, we appreciate having you here. We really do. And the work that you do in the community. It's vitally important. And I know just from personal experience from my own mother, and she just passed recently. She was 101 years old. And I understand the value of being able to stay in your own home. I really do. So thank you again.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here. It's been a lot of fun. You've been a friend as well as a coworker many years, and that will continue.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
I guess that about wraps it up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Real Talk with Sterling Real Estate Group. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. If you have any questions about real estate or topics you'd like us to cover, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at info@sterling518.com.